Update 1.6 is live! Welcome to the 1.6 update. We're adding a 100-player Battle Royale mode. 100 players. It's a big, giant map. Last one standing wins. That's it. That's what's happening. Oh boy. Oh wow. It's like a new launching start menu thing here. Huh. Makes sense because like Battle Royale can't have progression. So anyway, I'm still in the middle of the shock of seeing this announcement, so just so we're clear, I'm probably going to be pointing and laughing at this thing existing as a concept, and not particularly interested in doing a review or being fair and whatnot. I just find this really amusing that this is happening, but also a little bit of laughing to keep from crying, I guess. So, you might remember we had a Fortnite series and a PUBG series, to be clear. You may have noticed that it disappeared. And that's because we realized we were doing the same thing over and over again every single episode, and like there was no, like there's so little things to do in Fortnite that we were just so bored because the mechanics are so supplanted by its Skinner box mechanics and its endless grind that it thinks is content when that's not content really so much. In fact, Waterbot basically played a prank on us during our last session, which is that he skipped forward from the first world to the second world of the game. A whole new region and world of the game. Wow, what great content's gonna happen now. None of us noticed we were in a new world. That's how monotonous this game is that we skipped forward to a completely different world, and no one noticed. And we would have never noticed if he hadn't told us retroactively. That's how monotonous the main game was, so we were pretty resigned to quit forever, or at least wait for this game to hit some sort of 1.0 version where it is more substantial. Really disappointing how it took 5 years and it still isn't anywhere near that. But this Battle Royale announcement, oh boy, is like one last dying gasp of my vision of this game and what I hoped it would be, because like I saw the first announcement of this game like 5-6 years ago, and it was gonna be like, I think it was gonna be the first of its genre outside of Minecraft as being like an open world survival game. Nowadays, there's 50 different early access titles that are like that that'll never not be early access, and Fortnite has just sort of been amassed into the horde while also using the really irritating Orcs Must Die on Chains Skinner box mechanics that go way too far at over metagaming the game. But now, just in case I wasn't sure that the original identity of the game was dead, you know, a game where like you and your friends get together and like build up a base and try to survive day-night cycles indefinitely against like an oncoming horde, and you know, basically what 7 Days to Die probably is. Actually, I think that's probably what 7 Days to Die is, so I should probably just go play that, I guess. Now we have PUBG. They just made a PlayerUnknown's Battleground mode. Let's take a look. Hooray! Sup? I guess I'm playing as this dude. Can I play as anybody else? Not that big of a deal, but still. So, here we go. We expect the servers will probably break, and there'll be other crashes and bugs. You have 99 enemies, but a Husk ain't one. There's no Husks. Squads are coming. Until then, no teaming. So, once this game adds multiplayer, maybe I'll play it with Bird and Wander and everybody. Maybe. This game might even be good. I'm not even going to discount that idea. Like, that possibility is not outside the realm of possibility. It's just that I'm currently in shock that this is a thing, because it's so shameless. You'll see when we get in, but it's so shamelessly PlayerUnknown's Battleground that it's like, wow. And yeah, I know that PlayerUnknown's Battleground didn't invent every mechanic that exists within it, but you know, when a game is the most popular thing on Steam, like, ever, basically, yeah, at this point you can safely assume anybody that does a suspiciously similar game is absolutely copying that exact game. And this game does have the 100 players, the part where you hop out of a flying vehicle and paraglide down onto an open world, the big map that goes in the middle of your screen, the part where they move the health bar to the bottom of the screen instead of the top corner of the screen to look like the PlayerUnknown's interface, the part where you loot stuff and the items you're looting go on the left side of the screen, and there's the 3-column interface design that you saw in PUBG. The part where there's a closing force field that closes periodically to push you towards a central location. And the part, like, all the way down to having the mini-map with the line pointing you in the direction you need to go in, and the 100 players with the on-screen indicator of how many people... Oh, it's like, wow. Randomized loot. This is... Wow. I can't. This is... Man. It's gotta hurt, by the way. Like, this... Someone's gotta be bitter about this, like, behind the scenes, that they worked on this game for, like, 5 or 6 years or whatever... Or maybe it was just cooking in someone's brain for a while, and then they finally made it, like, over the last 2 years or something. They probably didn't actually make it over the course of since it was first announced. It probably was on pause or something for a chunk of that. Hey, look, it's the pre-lobby room, too. Because the chorus used that, too. And there's somebody dancing. So, it has to hurt to put this much time into a game and have it, after 5 years, it finally is kind of coming out, even though it's still in early access, which is a whole other can of worms to get into. And then you have to, like, course correct and add a mode that's a shameless ripoff of a game that just came out a few months before yours, but it is making such gargantuan waves that it's apparently where the profits lie now. Yeah, so you can see my interface on the bottom of the screen, the compass on the top of the screen. You got a mini-map, which you'll see has more details that relate to that stuff. We still have this somewhat convoluted weapon switching mechanics that are on the right side of the screen there. And the one twist this game has to offer is the base building stuff, right? The problem with the base building stuff, of course, is going to be that, like, the game isn't there's a closing force field, so, like, if you build a fort, how long are you going to keep it for? A few minutes? It's like, that's a whole other weird... Hey, look! Is this familiar to anyone? That is not a large map, is it? Maybe it looks larger up close. It's hard to make out scale when the scale is working this way. So here's the map. No, I don't think it's actually that big. Maybe there's the 100 players parachuting out. Bye, everybody. I wonder if I should just hang on the other side. One piece of good news for the sake of this video is that there's a spectator mode in this one. So if I die immediately, which is very possible because I've never played this before, I barely had any reason to practice combat in the first place, but now I especially have not played this PUBG clone thing. One thing that definitely disappoints me a bit is just the idea that, like, I like the stealth part of PUBG. I mean, that's the part where you can blend in with the environment and you can go prone and stuff like that. I'm fairly sure you cannot go prone in this game at all, actually. And it's a bright, colorful world full of cartoon character people, so that's weird too. I'm guessing the storm that forms is going to be the equivalent of the bombs, maybe? Or maybe that's the force field that comes in? That might be the force field that comes in, because the core story of this game talks about having a force field that you're trying to push out to defeat the storm. See, is there anyone nearby? I think I escaped everyone, which was kind of my goal. Get the opportunity to loot. Because, yeah, you start off with just a pick. And like I said, this could be good in its own way. I'm just so baffled by its existence right now that I can't really think about that very much. Alright, so it's definitely going to be different on some level. Because we're cartoon people, and in a cartoon world, we're not exactly going to be stealthing around. I kind of wish the zombies were still here, just so you'd have something else to fight. Because that'd be another way to make it not an exact carbon copy of the game that it's trying to very heavily emulate. There we go. But honestly, because the core gameplay is such a wash, because I'm so not into what Fortnite has turned out to be so far, this might be a way to salvage the fact that I even play this game. Because, like, this could potentially be more interesting in its own different way from PUBG, and I'm hoping that that's the case. I genuinely am. But man, it is hard to get over just seeing the announcement in your inbox of like, yay, by the way, we just added a 100-player PUBG mode. We're not going to call it that, though. It's our own unique creation that uses all the mechanics of the game that you've played recently. I'm also a little bitter because, like, look at that force field. Oh, I'm on the wrong side of this map. But, I'm also a little bitter because my multiplayer group specifically gave up on PUBG and switched to Fortnite. And I'm like, no, we're actually having fun with PUBG. And I'm like, no. I'm the only person, apparently, that is the defender of PUBG. Everyone else wanted to do Fortnite until Fortnite then became indefensible over time, and then we just stopped. Then we played EDF 4.1, which, I mean, to be fair, not a bad option. Going from Fortnite to EDF was an improvement, but I have been sad we have not gone back to PUBG in months now, I want to say. Hopefully I'll be able to wrangle them back in one day. But poor birdcatcher I think still has never gotten a single kill in PUBG ever. And so, or maybe he finally got one. So he's had such bad luck with that game that like he's had the inverse experience, whereas I've played it like I've only played like 20 rounds so far and I've already won like 3 or 4, which is not mathematically how that game probably plays out. The first thing I'm wondering is does this game have vehicles? 'Cause I haven't seen vehicles until now. So there probably aren't vehicles, which actually would help explain why the map is small, because without the ability to drive a vehicle, you'd be just screwed. Alright, this thing is still there. I'm wondering where they're gonna go with this, just because, like, the game was not designed for this? That's the weird part, right? Like, it's not at all designed for this game. This mechanic system. It's not even really designed for, like, really snappy, arcadey, responsive combat. It's basically like a game where you shoot zombies in the head and then numbers pop out like in Borderlands, and then it's like, did you crit? Who knows? So you got a fire effect? It's like, it's not really a mechanically driven game as much as it's like about who has the highest level stuff they grinded for, and like who can place the traps between them and the enemy, then stand still and shoot everything as it slowly approaches you. So this is a huge 180. Well, I'm much like how I'm not against the idea of Souls-likes, I'm not against the idea of games being like any game that I like, but I'm concerned about how this is going to play out when they flat out had to go and, like, just pull a 180 and make it basically be a different genre entirely. Before people, I mean, like, aside from the shooting part, it's like the one part that already existed was that it was already a shooter, but everything else about it, it's like, this is genuinely a genre change. Oh god. Let's not do that. Here we go. So one thing that's definitely going to happen is that the really tense final moments of PUBG are going to be gone in this one. I can crouch, but I can't prone. Can I shift crouch? Nope. So you can't go prone, you can't blend in with your environment. So this means that once you hit the final phase of the round, what's going to happen is everyone's just going to shoot each other. In fact, by the time the circle gets small enough to be the final round, there's only going to be a few people left anyway. Because once you're within line of sight of somebody, you can just see them and shoot them. Like, I'm surprised nobody shot me yet, actually, because I'm not really being that observant. But I got a sniper rifle. That'll be a little bit of a bummer, because the tension of the chicken dinner, like when everyone's like crouching and like trying to crawl through the weeds and get a one-up on somebody and trying to outmaneuver people, like that's all going to be gone. And instead what we're going to have is arcade shooting. What was the explosion? I think there's a guy in here, but I'm not sure. There's oh my god. There's tiny butterflies everywhere. Oh shit. Oh shit. How did you... Where are you? Nope, that didn't work out. Place 31st. Killed by the first person I saw. That's more or less what I expected. This is the same thing that happened in PUBG, was just the idea of like, hey, I've never actually fought a player before in this game. I wonder how this is going to turn out. Guess what? You die. You die horribly. So can I spectate anybody else or only J-Boy? Alright, so we're spectating J-Boy now, as we experience the rest of this. So did I even land a shot on him? Or was he already hurt before I got to here? I don't know. But let's see how this plays out. Apparently 2/3 of players had died before I even got this far. Oh, there's a guy in that house over there. There's the force field closing in. You're gonna have to slowly take damage. Hope you got a bunch of bandages that heal approximately 20% of your health, like in that one game. Come on, J-boy. Act fast. What you gonna do? We've got the same peeking around corners with your third-person camera from the other genre. Use that sniper, I gave it to you. You better freaking not blow this. J-boy, you had one job. Which is apparently to be a girl. We have a whole other thing to figure out about the... Wow, you got him. The, split between a parent's name and a parent appearance. But, I mean, you do you, it's fine. That's a weird choice. Are you afraid somebody's in that building? I thought the guy, like, ran away, not towards the other building that's also by the force field. Huh. I do like Fortnite's aesthetic. The colorfulness is nice, although the, it does feel weird to have this genre be used in a way where, like, nobody is, like, blending in with the environment at all. I guess that guy was, either he was AFK there for a long time somehow, or he must have been in a crafting menu. So we just saw our first instance of what can set this game apart, is that it has crafting. Somebody made a ramp. The issue I have is that, from what I played of Fortnite so far, which was like over 10 hours at this point at least, it's just, the crafting interface is kind of ass. It's kind of a huge pain in the ass, honestly. And it's cumbersome and awkward, and it fits with a game that's like Orcs Must Die, where like you are going to like casually just hang out under no threat and craft some stuff and make some buildings, and that, like, sure, you could streamline the interface for those games too, but there's less pressure to streamline the interface for a crafting menu when there's no real pressure, because you just wait. You're in the calm before the storm. Get it? Because Fortnite. You're in the space between waves, so you can like just casually like spend time slowly making ramps and crap. But like when you make those radio towers, it really highlights how cumbersome and crappy the crafting is, because you have to switch what type of wall or ramp you're crafting like 7 times or more in the process, and you realize how slow and awkward the whole thing is. You really start to wonder why you can't make like a blueprint, like in Factorio, where you could just be like, I have the resources, make this, and like you could save a blueprint of like the type of building you like to make. Because, like, that would be a smart thing to have, right? If you're playing this game right here, you would want to, like, make, like, if you want to make a sniper tower, then you'd want to, like, pre-craft the blueprint of the sniper tower, like, outside of the game, and then you could, like, just have that blueprint equipped, and then if you scavenge the correct resources to be able to, that would be required to build the sniper tower, you could just press a button and plop that sniper tower down. But right now, as it is, you'd have to just keep putting down ramps and walls and ramps and walls and so on over and over again. And that would be so awkward and distracting that I don't see how it's going to be mechanically incentivized as a thing that the player would do. Because, like, if you're putting down this tower, you're slowly crafting a bunch of pieces one by one with resources you apparently either gathered or mined somewhere. But luck of the draw got them out of a chest, or you actually, like, attacked trees and stuff till you had enough wood. And then you had to, like, slowly, like, what? You had to... Oh. Why are you... Oh, weird. There you go. Like, if you... Oh, there it goes. Good job. Nailed it. Alright. You had a perfectly usable staircase, and you're blowing it. Alright. But the act of mining stuff is already a risk, but the idea of opening up crafting interfaces and slowly, carefully trying to put together structures the way that you would in the core game seems like it's just suicidal and counterproductive. Because one, you're likely to get shot while you're doing it, because it's a big distracting process that makes noise and has giant glowing neon lights and does a bunch of things that are going to get you killed. But then on top of that, it creates a problem where when you're trying to do it, like, you try to fortify a location where a bubble's just gonna come by anyway and kick you out. because the bubble, like they use the same mechanic as PUBG for having like these boundaries on the interface and everything of where you can go and where you can go on the map, and where like this person's currently outside the force field, so they're taking constant damage. That's why they keep stopping to heal. So, like, who's gonna stop to craft fortifications in this game called Fortnite, which is a game about crafting fortifications, and that was, like, the core conceit of why anyone got it in the first place? So, like, they'd have to implement, they would definitely have to implement some kind of blueprinting feature that makes crafting really fast. Like, if you could, like, pre-design your blueprints outside of the map, which is something you can do in Factorio. In Factorio, you can make a blueprint, and then you can keep it. And you can even keep your blueprints from game to game. And all you need to do is get the resources needed to make the thing, I think somebody's shooting at him, even though he's all the way out here, which is, like, just extra bad news for him. Because, although you definitely see little hints of people doing interesting things there, because that guy put down a wall that had a hole in it. Like a single wall with a window. And, like, that's where this game can get interesting, is he crafted a fortification that he was going to use to fight off his enemies. It didn't work, because there was clearly a giant pile of loot there next to the window, so while I applaud him trying to use the game mechanics that are in the game to hopefully help him, they didn't help him, because they just shot him to death. I suspect they probably shot him to death through the wall, because because building stuff is very slow. So you can't just run up and just plonk down a whole wall anyway, because, oh my god, this guy's vibrating. Like, you can't just plonk down a wall, because the wall will slowly materialize one board at a time, and the blue part, that's the blueprint section, is going to just get shot, so, yeah, there it is. So because it materializes over time, you can't just put down fortifications consistently. That guy's using traps! Look at that guy! Well, we might change perspectives very rapidly here, because we're down to the last 6 people. So can this game be good in the long run? Maybe. It even has it genuinely does have, like, the possibility of even being the thing that I end up playing more than any of the other mechanics in Fortnite, because the other ones have been ruined and gutted by this incredibly long loot treadmill that the developers have clearly decided is more important than the actual gameplay. Whereas this forgoes that entirely. This doesn't have any experience or loot system because it's supposed to be a fair PvP match. Which I applaud them for doing, because I'm sure it was tempting to, like, put the Skinner box in there and figure out how to monetize this mode. But even if this goes well, they're definitely going to have to revamp the game pretty considerably just to try to make the game fit this, because the mechanics aren't designed around this genre. For the moment, it's more like when somebody adds mods for Minecraft, and they're like, now it's a PvP arena fighting Minecraft game, and it's like, what? That's not what Minecraft's really built around as a core mechanic. That's probably going to be janky as hell compared to a game that's just designed around that idea. And that's why many people have made, I think, a lot of modes that start off as Minecraft mods end up becoming actual games people make that are actually made for that mode, because it's so awkward to make a game not designed for a thing do a thing, but it can be a testing ground for the idea. One thing that's for sure is this probably gonna prolong how long this game is in early access. If they're gonna flesh this mode out, then, and if they're gonna do it right, which I hope they do, then they're definitely gonna be in early access for longer while they try to figure it out. And I just really hope that they can make the building more interesting, because right now people are just putting down ramps and floors basically because that's all you have time to do while you're running from a death force field, or in this case now you're in the final bubble of the map. Dude, you're in the open. What is he doing? That guy's like building stuff by the boundary of the map. Is this? That wouldn't make sense unless maybe this is like the final time the map gets smaller. This is what I've been waiting to see, is how does the final part of the match play out? Because in PUBG, it's a bunch of people desperately trying to get the drop on people. While hiding around in stealth and bushes and stuff. But in this game you can't crouch. Or you can crouch, but you can't prone, and even if you could prone, you wouldn't blend in with the environment, because you're all cartoon people. Oh. He tried to recover from it. This is the guy that's fortifying in the corner. He actually might win because the other people are all fighting it out point blank. Yeah, he's hiding behind the wall and watching as those two fight. Oh, there it goes. So if he can get the drop on them, then this could end. Oh, the shamelessness of this game existing. Oh, man. So I'll probably be over it. If I ever get together with Wander and Bird and play, like, you know, like do a series on this as a multiplayer game, I'll probably be over it by then, but right now I'm totally, like, enamored by the shamelessness of this existing. Are they not fighting each other? Are they, like, teaming up? What the hell? Those people aren't shooting each other at all. Wait, those people are, like... So they're cheating, right? They must be on Discord or something, and they've encountered each other in the same world, and like, let's not fight each other, we're gonna team up. That's fucked up. Everyone, 3 cheers for Spiro, let's fucking root this guy on. Oh, he didn't overcome adversity at all. They're not shooting each other at all right now. Oh no. Those people were explicitly working with each other, and the first round I played was people cheating. Oh no! That's a bummer. I don't know if that's a thing in PUBG, actually, because I always play teams. That's one thing, is that what I love about PUBG is that it leads to, like, really specific mechanical situations where you get the, what's it called? The emergent storytelling comes out, basically. And to get the best results, I specifically go for the multiplayer maps where you can have duos and squads, because that's when the most narrative happens, is when you're with friends and working together and stuff like that. So I don't know if people tend to cheat in solo PUBG, or I don't know if you can reliably even get in the same match on purpose in solo PUBG. I've never tried, but whoa, that's a bummer way for the first Fortnite match I see to end. Alright guys, so feel free to leave your comments. Some people might try to defend the game and whatnot, that's fine. I'm not really even that mad, I'm just amazed at the, like, this is embarrassing. It could be good, and they could redeem it by just making... they could redeem this by making a genuinely fascinating and interesting mechanic and game, and if they're going to do that, they need to lean really heavily into what makes Fortnite different from PUBG, because there are some differences that will never change. And they need to go heavy into that, because as of right now, this is, like, one of the most shameless cash grab moments I've seen in a while, of, like, somebody being like, well, that game's the biggest, most popularist game ever right now, let's make exactly that, but in our game, maybe that'll save us. And that's... oof. And it hurts, because, like, I had a specific thing that I thought 5 years ago that Fortnite would be, and turning into a Battle Royale shooter was definitely not one of those things. Boy, oh boy. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching like always. Hopefully, I'll get around one day, probably with Andrew, to play PUBG again in duos, because I don't think Bird and Wander ever want to play it again, which is a bummer, because I really enjoyed our brief foray into that game, and I think a lot of the audience did too. As far as Fortnite is concerned, the main gameplay mode, we're probably never playing again, unless the game hits 1.0 some point in the future and is, like, actually good now, because as far as I feel... because we, like, our first hour with Fortnite was identical to our 10th hour with Fortnite. Like, the game was not changing ever. Like, we were just playing the same thing over and over again, and there was the same it was the same, like, 2 maps and the same 3 missions over and over again, all while you get a bunch of Skinner boxes where you, like, get trading cards to mash into each other. I'm like, this isn't a compelling reason to keep playing. Trading cards that turn into experience points or whatever? That's not... nah. So as long as the main game's like that, we're probably never coming back to it, because we basically already beat the game. Apparently it's just like that forever, so why bother continuing? So we'll see if they can fully turn it into something worth playing later. We'll see once they add team stuff. I might get together with Bird and Wander and whatnot to play this game in multiplayer, which I look forward to trying. It could be interesting. And because they get so Bird can't deal with PUBG, and Wander finds it too stressful, so it might be easier to get them to play Battle Royale Fortnite, maybe. We'll see, and maybe I'll try out other modes as they come out. But yeah, this has been just a cathartic episode for me. I just wanted to vent about how confused I feel about the fact that that Fortnite basically just shamelessly made a PUBG mode. See you guys next time. Bye.